presents the management of different things together and bringing back impacts on the different elements, and particularly the socioeconomic and the rural community. The project that NWRC has won its participation with other many southern and northern Mediterranean countries is the converting marginal lands into productive agroecosystems through NOS species. And NOS stands for neglected and underutilized species. The session will go in an order of comprehensive presentation from Dr. Vasilis, the project coordinator from Greece, and who will give a detailed, comprehensive presentation regarding all aspects of the project, different activities, the different pilot areas across the different participating countries. And then after that, we're gonna open the entire floor for discussion regarding specific issues. It's gonna be a guided discussion towards benefiting the projects and collecting feedback that can help in activating this project and the future projects. With this, I would like to introduce Dr. Vasilis, but before I would like to thank everybody who is interested and came here to be with us. Thank you, and please, Dr. Vasilis, the floor is yours for your project presentation.
Hello, everybody. I'm really glad being here with you today. It was an honor inviting me to this great event. And it is an honor also to present our projects to you. You have also the desert, and you have also the Nile, which is a contradicting and a competition between these two elements. And you have all the capacity to provide knowledge to the Europeans, because the Europeans don't know really what is desertification. Now we are touching a little bit the problem, and especially the southern European countries. Plant species that can be used for plant nutrition, which means that only 3 of them have replaced the 250,000, which means that we are not using all the genetic material to feed ourselves, the plant genetic material. So, how is this succeeded through the Venus project? What we mean, how these problems are confronted through our project? By demonstrating the environmental and economic potential of introducing low water demanding species, which are called neglected and underutilized plant species with the acronym NAS. These species are adapted to grow in dry conditions or under other soil limiting factors like salinity, for example, reduced nutrient inputs, and generally in lands threatened by desertification. And below you can see the term, what is the neglected and underutilized species. And these are the why we want to promote the NAS exploitation in our agroecosystems in the Mediterranean. The most important, I have already spoke about the adaptation to marginal environment, and such that the greater use could strengthen local identities, which means that we have a lot of potential consumption based on products produced by the NAS species. So, these are the NAS species that we use in pilot areas of our project. Probably the first one, Opuntia ficus indica, is something that you know, but I don't know if you know the rest of this. These are 10 in number. Does anyone know or have seen before something like this? Alophytes. So, What we want to do in this project is to show you how these plants can be used and to create new market opportunities for the farmers and how they can contribute to a sustainable environment. So, the project has 12 partners from 8 countries, and we have 10 pilot sites. The pilot sites are in the map with the stars. And as you can see, we have the majority of the North African MENA region countries participating in our project. So we have selected all the possible candidates from the MENA region and North Africa to participate in our project. So, the basic elements of our project, which are called innovations, are grouped in 4 different compartments. The first one is the best management practices. The second one is the tools and algorithms that are going to be produced in the project. The third one is the quality assessment for market applications. And the last one is the economic feasibility scalability analysis of our pilot sites and actions that are performed in them. So, for the first case, which for the best management practices, you can see we have the NAS intercropping applications. For example, we can grow tomatoes in greenhouses together with some NAS. So you have double production. We have intercropping systems in the field. So we have, for example, Crythmum maritimum together with legumes in order to have an increase of the nitrogen in the soil and a high production of Crythmum without using fertilizers. The second one is NUS growth application in high salinity conditions. Right now we are playing with high salinity, for example, soils with specific NUS in order to see how this can be converted to productive agroecosystems. We have NAS cover crop applications for reducing erosion, for example, and increasing carbon, organic carbon. And we have the NAS cultivation together with honey production. This was an application in Jordan. So we can have a lot of application using this species. At the same time, one of the most important elements of the call was to have a proposal which will contribute to soil health. But you may not know, but the last 2 years in Europe, we are developing the soil monitoring law, which is something like the water framework regulation of the past. So now we are focusing a lot of the soil and the soil health. So if you see the elements inside the new soil monitoring law, you will see that they are focusing mostly on carbon, which means that Europe is losing the soil organic carbon, and we need a lot of practices that will increase this element of our soils. Of course, desert is a soil without organic carbon, and so the marginal lands that we have in our title are focusing exactly on that. How to use the NAS species to increase the organic carbon and to improve soil health. And for this reason, we have created an algorithm which considers a lot of parameters in order to provide you a final ranking of the improvements that are going to be done in your soil after using specific practices. For the quality assessment for market applications, we have 3 different pillars. The one is the quality assessment for NOS food applications, which means that in all our pilot sites, we are going to obtain the edible products, those who can be used as food, for example, in order to have specific parameters measured like vitamins or something like this, in order to provide you the nutritional value of the specific products. The second pillar is the cosmeceutical and pharmaceutical applications. This is something new. People don't know that a lot of the weeds that we have in our backyard are very precious, they have precious substances inside which can be used in the pharmaceutical and cosmeceutical industry, and they can pay a lot of money. And the third one is the quality assessment of NAS energy production applications. We have a lot of wastes, organic waste, that can be used in biogas production, for example. So this is what we are going to do in our project. For the last case, we have another three elements. Each pilot site is going to be used to build a business model based on the economic and the traditional conditions per country and per site. We have the NAS suitability map and decision support system for scalability and analysis, which means that for each pilot site that we have, we identify the conditions, and we are seeking the same conditions in the Mediterranean basin in order to see if we can upscale the specific production system. So, for each pilot site, we create an identity, and we are looking for the same conditions across the Mediterranean basin in order to see how much we can spread it. We have also the SDGs assessment. SDGs means Sustainable Development Goals. This is a very important element. Right now, the United Nations and FAO, they are focusing on that, which means that we need to find specific indicators that can show that the NUS introduction in a specific place can improve the specific indicators. In our project, we are using 4 of them, so we upscale theoretically the NUS ecosystem in the pilot site in order to see what could be the impact at national level. And of course, the last one is the Venus Network platform, where we are going to build something like a simple Facebook for NAS stakeholders, which means we have farmers, traders, we have those who are associated with the raw materials, fertilizer companies, seed companies, etc. And of course, the secondary production of industrial complexes of food production, pharmaceutical production, and the last one, which is the waste management through the biogas production. So all these people will be interrelated and interconnected through our specific platform. The Joint Research Center of European Union, which is the responsible for soil health analysis. So whatever we do in our project is following the protocols of the specific institute. The soil health quality algorithm is something that I told you before. I'm skipping this one. The tools to assess the quality of market applications, so we already told about the food production, the quality assessment of pharmaceutical uses, and the energy production. As you can see, there is a lot of scientific literature, but now we have all the scientific equipment to check exactly what we can get from the specific plants and to propose market applications based on the 3 pillars. I'm skipping this. This is a very nice. Why doesn't go back? How can This is a very nice case of photographs, as you can see. We have a lot of plant tissue compartments that can be used. They are wastes, more or less, because you can have different qualities in the production phase. So you can keep the good production for the market, and the rest can be used as a raw material for biogas production. Biogas production can be done very easily, even in small complexes. So an association of farmers can have a biogas production plant by themselves, but depends on the capacity of the farmers to cooperate and invest on something like this. In the European Union right now, we have a lot of biogas plants which run under the supervision of Farmers Association. This is the case of upscaling. What we are doing right now is we are checking all the abiotic factors of the Mediterranean basin in order to create a mapping system of layers which will identify the basic abiotic factors that regulate the production of NAS species. In reality, what we are looking in these maps is where we have a bad production system, a bad production environment. This is a target where we can introduce our new species, which means that we want to convert a low or null productivity place to a productivity place based on the NAS. So, considering our mapping system, we will create, for example, a map of clustering the different qualities of environment in order to check how this NAS will be introduced in specific places. Of course, this will be followed by a decision support system per each NAS, where you will be able to put the conditions that you have in your field, your bad field, and it will give you a guidance which NUS is more appropriate for your place. These are the sustainable development goals. Everybody knows about them. In our project, we are dealing with these 4, and we are playing with the specific 4 indicators. The first one is the proportion of agricultural land under productive and sustainable agriculture, which means that we want to increase this. We want places which are not productive to be included in the agricultural productive areas. The second one is change in water use efficiency over time. In a marginal land where nothing is growing, you have at least one source of water which is unexploitable, and this is rainfall. So if we introduce NAS species, at least rainfall will be used in the water use efficiency. So we are increasing this indicator. The third one is the total greenhouse gas emission per year. In a soil where nothing is growing, if you put a NAS species, it will produce biomass in a place where biomass didn't exist, which means that you are capturing carbon dioxide. And this indicator will be increased also. And the last one is the proportion of land that is degraded over total land area. The target for this indicator is to be reduced, which means that we aim to introduce the new species in degraded lands, so they will be removed from this proportion. And of course, we have the tools to support the farmers. The first one is that we are doing an exhaustive literature review about what exists in the globe about specific species. We are playing with the internet sources about the different market applications and the different channels that can provide income. And of course, based on each pilot site, we are going to create 10 different business models that can be used as a reference for the farmers of the future, those who want to deal with the specific NAS species. In our open day, we had an open day this year in Chios Island in Greece. Your representatives from NWRC came in Greece in order to see an exceptional case. We have a young woman who is nearly 30 years old. She has 1 hectare of a new species collection. She has built her own company. It is a very small company, but she is producing quantities that can cover the demand of the island and she's distributing products in 14 countries right now. And this happened in 8 years. It's one person, the boss, she, and another 2 employees, another 2 young women who are involved in the process phase for cleaning the product, put it in the jars, creating products like, how do you call it when you put the vinegar inside with the tissue in order to preserve it? These are vases of vinegar together with the plant tissue, for example, in order to be used in the future so it doesn't spoil. So they have learned how to preserve it with natural preservatives like vinegar. So they have a product with high duration and very high price because nobody else is selling it. So there are a lot of opportunities for the specific species in the smallholder farmers, because you don't need to have hundreds of hectares to grow something like this. And of course, the most important tool for the farmers is the case of living labs. At the beginning, we were very skeptical about the term living labs because this is a European initiative. At the beginning, Europe had clusters. Clusters was something like an obligatory cooperation between different stakeholders, farmers, scientists, secondary producers, in order to have a legal entity for trading a specific product. This failed completely. So they changed completely the manner of thinking, and they created the term living lab. Living lab is not an obligatory cooperation, financial cooperation. It's like being friends of different stakeholders of the same thing, sitting down on the same table and discussing how to improve the value chain of the product. Which means that I need to know what are your problems. You need to tell me so there is an exchange of opinions, problems, and how to improve all the value chain from 0 to infinite. So in the living lab phase, what we want to do in this project is for each pilot site, we are going to build a living lab. And for each living lab, there is also the lighthouse. The lighthouse is a flag farmer. The flag farmer is always the one who gives indirectly the direction to the rest people. Even though they do not accept that he is the best, they always check him what he is doing. So it's a smart concept, even in Europe. You have the flag farmer who is the pioneer, and you have the rest people who try to evolve themselves inside the specific agroecosystem. So the flag farmer is always visible and always shows what he's doing. And this is what the living lab does. Takes the flag farmer, he puts it above all, without showing it too much, and says, this is the best example, you can follow it if you want to be involved in this specific market and this specific system. And of course, the platform that we said before on how to interrelate all these people in the specific marketplace. I hope I gave you a lot of details about our project and the specific initiative about new species. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Vasilis. And let me take like 5 minutes if anybody of our guests would like to ask Dr. Vasilis any questions regarding the project activities. If not, we can start the open floor discussion. And here,
I have a small question. Maybe I am not one of the guests, but I wanted really to take this opportunity to ask Professor Vasilis about something maybe relevant to our theme of the conference, and especially in Egypt. You have mentioned that there are many of the deliverables that expected from the project. And because we have the variety here with different background, but because of the theme of the conference is related mainly for water efficiency. You have mentioned it, and you mentioned that it is one of the SDGs that we are going to implement. But maybe I wanted just to learn more how NUS will have a direct impact about the increase the water efficiency and how to convince the farmers or the water user for irrigation to have this kind of practice. Is it related only for using the modern technology, or it will be within the practice about the NUS itself related to like not consuming a lot of water, etc.? This is actually what I wanted just to ask about it. Thank you.
Until now, what we have seen is that the existing NAS farmers, in reality, they are not pioneer farmers in terms of technology, irrigation systems, or something like this. What they do is the following. They have a bad land, and with a few amounts of water, mostly coming from the rainfall, they can have a production in a place where nothing is growing. So what they do in reality, they are collecting the biomass production from a place where they didn't put any sources, not fertilizers, nothing. They just put a seed, and they have expanded the NUS cultivation in places of high slope, places with a lot of rocks, places like this. So they collect the biomass, and in reality, they do not have a certified product, but they are putting the product in the local markets where you have the products in the tables and not in the supermarkets. There are, until now, very few organized farmers certified with the packaging, the brand name, or something like this. They are not more than 20, 30. In the whole Mediterranean area. And they are facing a lot of problems because the governments do not accept that the specific species have an impact, economical impact in the national economy. Because everybody is looking for the powerful plants, rice, cotton, corn. No species are growing in marginal lands, and very few people exploit this biomass production and channel it in the market. But what we want to do is to change something like this in order to create a new market for those species. The most striking example is oregano. You know oregano? It grows everywhere. You can take it by yourself from the mountain. This is what we do in Greece, for example. And it was a huge problem at the beginning because the certified producers could not sell it because everybody was gathering it from the nature. So suddenly the market changed because there were national initiatives to promote the production, the certified production, by giving subsidies. So these people created new farming systems of oregano, and now we have certified oregano with a packaging, with a brand name, with everything. It's not a natural product that you can take it by yourself.
So, anyone has any other questions? So, Dr. Vasilis, Dr. Islam, should we start the open floor discussion session? And we need to run a little bit because of the delaying start. Okay. Here we're having three main issues that we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to leave the floor to Dr. Vasilis and Dr. Islam to moderate the discussion and stimulate the floor for discussing about these issues and came out of your opinion so that we can help the project. Thank you, Dr. Islam and Dr. Vasilis.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us. Professor Vasilis actually gave us like a brief presentation. Thank you very much. And I think now the idea is a little bit clear. But we wanted just to hear from you. It is not only about just giving a presentation about the new project, but also we wanted to hear from you, your opinion. We have summarized like 3 questions we wanted to discuss with you. The first one, from demonstration to policy integration. I think there are many of the steps that we have. We started with the demonstration, as Professor Vasilis mentioned, about the pilot area, living labs all over the Mediterranean countries, in Egypt, in Jordan, and also in Europe. What do you think? How we can deliver the message to our policymakers to adopt cultivation NUS and have the great output of our project to be disseminated for the farmer, the policymakers, and for everyone to think about it to have the benefit? How to integrate this? Yes, please.
Microphone.
Just introduce yourself.
We need a mic.
Mic. And please, everyone, introduce himself or herself before asking any question. Mic here.
Assalamu alaikum. Bassam Abdul Latif from National Authority for Remote Sensing and Space Sciences. For this point, from demonstration to policy integration and how we can make our policymakers take this opportunity to make the NAS planting. I think the most important thing that Mr. Vasilis mentioned, that a young woman with 2 farmers get these benefits and has their companies. If there is a real economic value to this, I think our policymakers will paying attention to this point. I don't know. I can ask a small question. It may not be in the demonstration and the policy integration. It may go there. When you present the map of Mediterranean soils, where we can put each NUS species, I saw that you have stopped just under the delta. But we have many other lands that have been marginalized in South Wadi or some oases in the south. Did you make the experience did you extend the experience to this part? Because the real need to have some NUS species to get better soil properties to plant them. Thank you.
Can I respond? Now you hear me? No, you don't. Okay, now you hear me. During mapping, we had a lot of problems because the boundaries of the states participating in the project had a lot of conflict with the boundary delineation of the states at the south place. We had the same with Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, and Morocco and Egypt, I think. So every map is cutted a little above, and these are not the final maps. These are just examples to show you how we are going to clusterify the whole region. What we are going to do is to create sub-regions for this purpose, But our problem was that there is a big territory, mostly Sahara and all this place, which was increasing the computational power for doing the mapping and the analysis inside GIS software. So that's why we have these specific small places. But if there is the opportunity to go beyond and go southern in your territory, this is something that we will do it together with the colleagues from NWRC, and we will check all the places where we can do something like this.
Is Mike.
They took your microphone. No, don't take his microphone.
We need the mic to be circulated here.
I said that in Egypt there are 5 oases. There are farming activity, very active farming activity, and there are very serious problems of land and soil. Therefore, instead of concentrating all over the Sahara, you can concentrate on these oases: Kharga, Dakhla, Farafra, Al Bahriya. I think this will be computationally efficient to map them. Thank you.
In oasis, yes.
Thanks, Professor Sharif, for joining us.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. محمد بكر عبد الغني معهد بحوث الصرف. According to the presentation prepared by Dr. Vasilis, I noticed that he gave some photos about the halophytes. And in the desert in Egypt here, the people who are living in the desert have a good experience in using such as a medicine plants to be used. But I think if we try to transfer this to Delta, because this is normally planted in areas with high saline soil, which exceed 4 dc Siemens per centimeter. Therefore, if we try to give a kind of extension service for the area is under desertification to be used such things, and the people who are taking a decision or decision maker can convince by making a meeting with the farmer. As you mentioned, there must be a leader of the farmer who can take the action, and according to that, the people follow him. Therefore, we must make a kind of field schools that farmers here in Egypt with the Ministry of Agriculture can make these field schools and have a good experience in such that they make a contact between the farmers themselves who have experience in planting such material or plants, because this is not traditional in the Delta, only in the desert area, and naturally it is grown. Therefore, if the decision maker like to take a decision in planting such, because it give a very good income for the farmers themselves as a medical or use for industry, I think it will be good for decision maker to make or to take action in making such policy for farmers to start making these schools or transferring the experience from the people who planted this in the desert or use it just to be the area under desertification in the Delta or other areas. Thank you very much.
Mike is here.
Good morning. I am Ahmed Youssef, the former president of Desert Research Center, and I'm the vice president of the Egyptian Center of Excellency for Saline Agriculture. Thank you very much for this fruitful presentation and this session. We have an experience of this project and funded by PRIMA through the using of halophytes as intercropping system in the marginal lands in the northwestern coast and also in the Kafr Sheikh area. In the northern coastal coast, the saline soil and saline water, it is the problem for these areas. And we convert these marginal lands to produce different fruits using Salicornia, which is a natural plant along the saline areas of the northern coastal coast. And we transfer these natural Salicornia intercovered with tomato under 8,000 part per million of water and saline soil also, and it is very excellent and success stories in the northwestern coast. Another issue also for the using the biochemistry and something to delineate and desalinate the water in the field and using the Ras Cedr area in our stations using saline water of about 10,000 part per million using cultivate wheat, and also in Kafr Sheikh using the algae and the other things for this purpose. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Did you have a market for Salicornia?
This is the problem, our problem, and now we, the policymakers, and because it is difficult to produce seeds and to market it, and now we want to extend the project from PRIMA to make this marketing inside and outside Egypt. Yeah.
This is what we want to do. You have I understand that there is a huge land, and the production can be immense, which means that in 1 year, if you put the appropriate investments on this action, you can create a product with the brand name of Egypt, which can be distributed in the global market. The only problem is that nobody is giving attention to these activities and to the specific products because they are not, let's say, popular. Everybody is dealing with typical crops like rice, cotton, corn. They don't understand that there is a high value behind the specific species, and especially the pharmaceutical and cosmeceutical compounds. Right now, there are a lot of farmers in Greece, because I know that from personal experience. They sell those raw materials to companies which are producing cosmeceutical products in very low prices, because in reality they are blackmailed. If you don't give me this price, I will not take it, I will take it from another. But there is no another producer. So they don't know exactly what is going on in the market because there is no knowledge of the market. And these people, the secondary production of industrial complexes, they are selling new products based on the specific species in a very high price because they are rare materials.
Also, besides the benefits of the zirconia as animal feeding or human feeding and pharmacology, also it permits the growing of tomato under this soil salinity and soil water conditions here. And this is another benefit to make intercropping from fruits with Salicornia, which allow the growing of other things in this marginal lands here.
You have to make a comparison of soil organic carbon of the marginal land without Salicornia and the land with Salicornia. The difference of the soil organic carbon can be translated to carbon credits, and these are another market.
Thank you. Dr. Islam, should we go to a second issue because of time? I would like to have the opportunity for the floor to capture just something from each issue?
Okay.
Or you still want to focus on the first issue?
I know, but because of the time availability, maybe I can just make it quick for the other two issues, like within our question. We have already discussed about the policy, but there are other two general questions as appears on the screen, like if we would like to have the full value of the ecosystem services. I think this is one of the important topic, and even within the EU, within the recent years, they encourage any of the research related to water or food to be implemented within the ecosystem services. In your opinion, do we really can integrate the NUS in this system and to have a good ecosystem services? As you mentioned, it was related to the desert areas, etc. And we were talking about the Nile Delta, or like similar conditions or environment to the Nile Delta. In your opinion, this will add a good value for the ecosystem services or not? And the last one, about the NUS value chain. We are talking about how to be implemented within the farm, but Professor Vasilis mentioned this within his presentation. It is not our target to have a successful case study or within our living lab, but we wanted to have it within the market and supporting the farmers, not only about saving water and enhancing the land and the soil, but also to have a good economy for them and also within the entire society. Actually, that's what are we doing, and we can have from you like an answer for the discussion because of the time limitation. If you have, just let us know, introduce yourself, and give us your feedback. Thank you very much. There is someone? Mike here, please.
Yeah, Mike in the fourth row.
So thank you very much for that presentation. My name is Festus Kani from Kenya, and Director in charge of Irrigation Quality Assurance. The presentation very interesting, and also it is seems to be a new area of knowledge. As a matter of fact, I think generally, if you look at Africa, the greater land demands is marginal. But then I think what I can commend is that this seems to be an emerging area, and maybe it will also add a lot of value to our marginal areas, because these also where the areas where the issues of inclusion, the issue of inclusion is greatly biased and the poverty levels are very high. Now coming to the real issue, I don't know whether you are integrating maybe indigenous knowledge. Someone asked about the species that are growing in these areas. Are you integrating maybe indigenous knowledge to your research? Because adaptability and also the uptake will also depend on converting, the local communities to understanding the economic value of the interventions that you are making. Then on maybe another concern, have you tried to analyze the economic returns for the interventions? It's not very easy to invest in these marginal areas for many reasons. The populations are sparse, the lands are expansive, then maybe the cost of investment might turn up to be too high for you to get reasonable returns. Have you tried to look at the economic perspective of the interventions that you are trying to make? We are talking about the market, about the species that you are promoting. For us to get a reasonable market, we need to aggregate what we produce. You need to get mass production so that to make industrial sense. So there may be possible interventions to scale up the uptake and also expand the production. Generally, our farmers are greatly taken advantage of because we don't have a synchronized mechanism to produce in bulk and make economic sense. So as a policy, maybe expert also, the policy direction to make sure that we expand production, get critical volumes for uptake. And then that will also enhance the negotiation power of the producing groups. Maybe farmer groups are key in this. but then also the local participation and capacity development for the local communities to understand. Can there be also local value addition, for you to do some basic value addition to enhance the price? Otherwise, it's an excellent area of discussion. Maybe next time you'll expand lower south to Kenya. We also have our land as more or less 70-80% marginal. So critical interventions that are required, and maybe if you have captured a few issues, then you can respond, and that's what maybe I could have wanted to contribute. Thank you.
I really thank you for your comment, because you stressed the most important problems regarding the expansion of the specific production systems. The most crucial problem right now is the genetic resources. Even though they exist everywhere, it is very difficult to gather the material, the genetic material, in order to make an appropriate farm. It's very difficult to have the seed or to make the propagation of the plant, which means that we are still at zero. So this is a project that can give you the potential of these production systems, but we need the help of the state, because the private companies will never give you the basic infrastructure to be better in this, because they want cheap products, cheap raw materials. So the state should focus on that, should invest on that, and create the basic infrastructure, which is the production of the genetic material for upscaling the production of these species. Right now, for example, for the pilot sites, we were laughing because we were looking on the internet if we can buy seeds. And they were 10 bags, small bags, available, for example, in the market, and nothing else. So, in order to build a pilot site, we needed to do propagation. We should plant 10 seeds, and then to have the plants, and then to create more and more and more in order to have the farm. Which means that there is the basic element, which is the genetic infrastructure does not exist for these species. It's a personal job that someone did somewhere, and he built his own business. So right now, if you want to be a cotton producer, you buy the cotton seeds, which is certified by a big company. This thing does not exist for these species. You have to do it by yourself. You have to gather it from the nature, you have to do the propagation by yourself, and to start increasing the territory of the plants that you have grown. And this is how it works right now. So there is a need for investment on this specific area. Thank you very much.
I would like to add something for the capturing of the value of the ecosystem. For the farmer, if we like to apply such things or to convince him to apply such things, I think I understand that money. This must be arranged through the cooperative market. If they make a kind of pilot areas for the farmer for demonstration on the field of the farmer himself, and then the other will see, as I mentioned before, that field school. If some farmers take the leadership in such things, but under firstly the cooperative market in the villages, I think they will convince the farmer, and because the cooperative market can make a kind of contracting with the areas that will have these seeds, or for medicine factories or something to look like that. I think that it will affect on the farmer income, and also it will make a service for the ecosystem in the area itself. Thank you very much.
Any other comment or questions regarding the issues that are shown on the screen? Dr. Vasilis, would you like to add or comment anything from your side?
No.
Dr. Islam? Okay, there is a question.
It's not a question, it's more like a contribution. My name is Shaza. I'm Faculty of Agriculture, a student at 4th level. I'm truly honored to be here. I came with my professor. So my contribution in the equity and inclusion, actually most of the marginal lands, the knowledge there is for women and youth. So if we can add mapping according to gender sensitivity, it will be more effective. So we can give a voice and a stake to the women and youth. So we can this way ensure the inclusion of them in the value chain of the NUS. Thank you.
We thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Thank you. Any other questions, any other intervention? Because of the time, actually, I would like to invite Professor Sharif Mohammadi, our NWRC president, to speak few words and for the closing of our session. Professor Sharif.
Thank you so much, Professor Ala. Thank you, Dr. Vasilis, for being with us. I'm not actually expert in the subject, but let me reflect that I consider that the participation and partnership of NWRC in a project like Venus under the umbrella of PRIMA funding of the European Union is one of the examples that we would like really to replicate and duplicate. We need to build strong partnership with institutions that allow us to tackle some good research topics. And here, when I think about research topic and research questions, I think we have to link this to our strategy here in Egypt and also our research strategy in the National Water Research Center. And looking forward, we will be very much keen to see the outcome of this project. We would like to be one of the contributors to the success of this project. We would like to build our capacity in that area of research, but we would like to build partnership. And through this joint and collaborative research, under this kind of strong umbrella of supporting or giving grants to research projects, I think we can be much stronger in terms of knowledge transfer and exchange. And I'm trying to just say that what we have learned from the morning session, now the Egypt, represented by the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, succeeded to put a kind of a clear strategy, how to manage its water resources, how to tackle different problems that we are suffering from for a long time. But I think research should play a role in that. It's an agenda for us to work, it's an agenda for us to follow, but it's also a challenge for us to translate those kind of pillars into research questions and topics that we need to answer and we need to work with. And I don't think that one institution can answer those kind of questions. No single institution can do it alone. So through partnership and collaborating with other international institutions, we can exchange knowledge, we can use new technologies, we can explore new ideas, and we can build a strong partnership to allow us really to cope with the challenge that we have, and also to support the strategy, the implementation of the strategy of Egypt in the water sector. That's why I would really urge all the National Water Research Center researchers and professors and leaders to think about new kind of ideas for collaborative research with international partners, to use the opportunities and to capture the opportunities available there in order to be part of these kind of mechanisms, and also to collaborate with national and international institutions in order to be strong enough to show ourselves as a strong institutions, but also with strong ideas for research. Thanks, Professor Ala, for leading this activity of the project in Egypt. Thanks for the team of the project. Of course, thanks for the leader of the project for his very important and successful coordination of the activities. And I think we are looking forward to see the successful implementation and the concrete output of this project. But we would like to also invite more and more ideas, more and more projects to collaborate with, either in an umbrella of PRIMA or any other umbrella that allow us to work and to do some good research. And I thank everyone who came to the session and joined us to listen to our experience and our work in terms of research project. And I think with the coming years, we might be able really to have more than 2, 3, 4, 5 projects like that. Thanks so much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Professor Sharif, for your concluding remarks. Thank you, Professor Ali Abdin, for leading this wonderful and important sessions. Thank you, Professor Vasilis, to be with us here in Egypt. Thank you, Professor Islam. And if there is any final comment? Okay, thank you for all the audience. Thank you, Professor Ahmed, for your coming.